Hey guys, it's Kevin Answer for Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 8, Hardhome, and oh my god, another amazing episode. Seriously, this is the Game of Thrones that I love. It really is. I mean, this episode was intense. This was such an incredible episode. It had so many amazing moments. By far, best episode of the season. I mean, last week's episode was amazing, but it was mainly setup. This really, the payoff was so good here, and for anyone complaining that this season was bad, this episode should have made you realize, you know what, Game of Thrones is so great, and it really was. I mean, especially the final, I'd say maybe 15 minutes of this episode, you're, like, how could you not be into the episode? Like, seriously, how could you not be? Let's get into this episode because it was amazing, and I really loved every minute of it. Now, most of this episode actually focused on Jon Snow and the Watch story. I mainly focused on that, but I did focus on some other things. And we're first going to talk about the beginning of the episode, which focused on Jorah and Tyrion, which I was very interested in seeing how this was going to be, because, of course, Jorah and Tyrion finally met up with Daenerys last week. Now, like I expected, of course, she is asking why she shouldn't kill Tyrion. You can already tell that Tyrion is already getting back to his badass self, which I love, and Tyrion talks about how, you know, when he was first born, he killed his mother, and then he finally killed his father, and he calls himself pretty much the greatest Lannister killer of all, and he recounts Daenerys' story and the faith Varys put in her, but he goes on to say that he has necessary insight that she'll need if she's to rule Westeros. So right away, he tells her that, look, I could be of assistance to you, I can mentor you, I can help you be a better queen, and as a test, she asks Tyrion what she should do with Jorah. And I was wondering exactly what Tyrion was going to say, because, of course, I was thinking that Tyrion was going to try to get these two to make amends. That's what I thought was going to happen. But Tyrion does speak for Jorah's devotion to Daenerys' cause, but then notes that he did betray her. Of course, he knows that Jorah was banished, and he notes that a ruler who kills those devoted to her does not inspire devotion, but that she cannot march on Westeros with Jorah at her side. So, Daenerys is Jorah removed from the city altogether, which I thought was really interesting that she did that. So, basically, I mean, Jorah is really no help to them. Obviously, she banished him. She can't really trust him. I can understand why she did what she did. At least Daenerys is doing good things at this point. I definitely really loved seeing Tyrion and Daenerys team up. I can already tell that I really do love this team up. Really, I do. I think they work great together, and I can't wait to see more of them teaming up, which we do see more in this episode, which I will get to. But then we get to just, honestly, this I found hilarious. I really did. I mean, I'm not really hilarious, but just, like, finally it's happening. Because, of course, as we know, the best moment of last week's episode, the best moment maybe the entire series, Cersei was imprisoned for all the shit she's put people through, and Septon brings Cersei food and water in her cell, and she's telling Cersei to confess, and strikes her with a spoon when she says anything else, and it's just like, Cersei's like, get me out of here, you're gonna get me out of here, and I like what the Septa says to Cersei, that she needs to pay for her sins, and that she can't just get out of there, and she leaves her the darkness of her cell, and honestly, I don't feel bad for Cersei. Honestly, this whole thing, I'm like, yeah, finally, Cersei's getting what she deserved. I mean, think of everything she's put everyone through. She caused the Red Wedding. She caused, you know, she's the primary cause of the Red Wedding. She caused, you know, she loved Joffrey and tried to motivate him, made him as evil as he possibly was. And now the whole thing with Loras, she finally crossed the line, and she's done. So I love Cersei in prison. I think it's a very well-done storyline, and I love the way they're handling it. It honestly is perfect. So Arya, of course, last week with Jaqen, she didn't want him to know her real identity, so she's pretending her name is Lara, basically, and she's this sales girl selling fish, and I thought this was really interesting what she says, you know, she sells fish, and that the other girl is her sister, and basically Jaqen doesn't, of course, Jaqen, I think, he definitely is very skeptical of if this is true or not. I mean, you can tell last week that he was not sure if she was telling the truth or not. So, I was definitely wondering if he was going to believe this, and he's giving her a task, basically, and I like what he does here. In order to see if she's actually serious, he tells her to go to the dock and see something, because maybe he does have a task for her. So she goes to the dock as her new identity, Lana, and she serves a thin man oysters, and overhears a man involved in a bet that's gone bad, and she discusses the situation with Jaqen, and Jaqen tells her to observe the thin man and then give him a gift. So, basically, he actually has something for her to do now. Besides just mopping floors and looking at dead bodies, she actually has something to do. So this actually might benefit Arya, but it's also going to backfire horribly if he finds out who she really is, which I don't know if he will, but this could end up horribly for Arya, or it can end up really well. I don't know. We'll have to see. So, Qyburn then visits Cersei in her cell. He gives her the details of her upcoming trial, and when he said, I'm like, yes, finally, Cersei's gonna be on trial, and I really hope that that just ends in her death, because honestly, I would be fine if Cersei died in the finale. I honestly would be fine with that. If we get to Cersei's trial in episode 10, I'd be fine with that. I don't know if we're going to see Cersei's trial this season or next season, but definitely feel like for the rest of the season, this is going to be Cersei's storyline, which is awesome. So she asks if there's been any word from Jaime, but Qyburn says there hasn't. Why would he know? Like, seriously, why would Qyburn know this? And Qyburn tells Cersei that Pycelle has summoned Kevan Lannister back to King's Landing to serve as Hand of the King, and Kevan has refused to visit Cersei, which again is understandable. Why would anyone want anything to do with Cersei after what happened? And Tommen is still in a state of depression and won't see anyone, which, again, that's understandable as well. I mean, you do have to feel bad for Tommen. Obviously, his wife was just in prison, and now his mother's in prison, so you do have to feel bad for what's going on with him, but Qyburn tells her that there's a way out, but Cersei refused to confess to the High Sparrow, then she rose up in the first place. And I'm just like, seriously, just confess, and then you can go. Like, she's not even admitting that she might have done something wrong. She's like, I don't belong here, I didn't do anything wrong, what the fuck are you talking about? She's not even acknowledging the fact that she might have done something wrong, when we know that she did, and I'm just like, just say what you did, get out of there, and then you're good, but she's not doing anything. So before leaving, he tells her the work continues, and when he said them, like, that basically means that she's going to stay in there, and that was awesome. So if we just keep Cersei like this all season, I honestly would be fine with that. I love seeing Cersei get what she deserves. This should have happened seasons ago, and I'm very happy that's finally happening now. She totally deserves it. Honestly, she does. So, Theon brings food to Sansa, who, this might be the most tragic storyline, honestly, right now. I really do feel bad for Theon and Sansa right now, because obviously they have to deal with Ramsay, and I've heard most people say Ramsay is the new Joffrey. I'd say more Cersei is the new Joffrey, because, I mean, we've hated Cersei all along, but yeah, I would definitely say Ramsay is equivalent to Joffrey. Joffrey never raped anyone, though. Joffrey did some horrible things, but he was just a dick. That's really what Joffrey was. Ramsay actually rapes people, and he does some pretty crazy shit, so Theon, she's just staring at him as he enters, and she asks Theon why he told Ramsay, and Theon says he was helping Sansa, and that there's no escape from Ramsay. And I thought that was really interesting they said that, because really there isn't. I mean, now that she's with Ramsay, she can't get out of it. Even though Sansa might want to get out of it, she can't, because she's now in this position now where she has to be with Ramsay. I really like that Theon said that to her. And of course, he still doesn't want to be called Theon. He wants to be called Reek, and you just have to feel bad for the guy. So Theon recounts the torture that Ramsay did to him. all the crazy shit that he did, and Sansa said that she'd do the same to him, which I think she should, honestly. Sansa, if she were to do that, Sansa would become, like, my favorite character on the show. Obviously, my favorite character is Tyrion, but, I think that if Sansa were to do that, that'd be awesome. So she basically says because of him, she doesn't have a family. That's true, because, of course, Ramsay, his family, was the cause of the Red Wedding. He was the cause of it. So Theon says he deserved it for turning on Robb and capturing Winterfell and killing those boys, and Sansa says they weren't boys, they were Bronn and Rickon. Of course, they think that Bran and Rickon are dead. She doesn't know that Bran and Rickon are alive. Now, we don't know if Bran and Rickon are dead or not. Obviously, they're not on this season, they're not going to be on this season, so I guess we'll have to wait till next season to see what actually happens with them. But Theon let slip that they weren't Bran and Rickon, and I thought that was really interesting that he did say that. And he doesn't tell her anything after. He's just like, don't call me Reek, my name is Theon, and he leaves. So, I mean, don't call me Theon, my name is Reek, and I thought that was really interesting. So, definitely, if they weren't Bran and Rickon, who else were they? I think that definitely is very interesting. So, definitely, I think Sansa's definitely going to get more answers about the Red Wedding. So in Roose Bolton's war room, he and his advisors discuss their position against Stannis, and Roose says they are far better prepared for a sledge than Stannis is. Of course, Stannis is against them, and Ramsay counsels taking the fight to Stannis instead to send a message to the other northern families, but Ramsay asks for just 20 good men. Obviously, they know that Stannis is coming. They know what's going to happen there. They know there's going to be a whole attack and everything, so they definitely are preparing for that, and I thought that was really interesting. And obviously, they need more men, so Ramsay said they just need 20 good men, and I was wondering who he would maybe get there. So we get another great scene with Tyrion and Daenerys, and I just love these two working together. I really do. I mean, Tyrion and Daenerys, they speak privately, and they discuss what to do with each other and about each other's fathers. I mean, obviously, his father's dead, her father's dead. What the fuck are they gonna do? So Tyrion tells Daenerys that opening the fighting pits was a wise decision. Yes, it was, especially when she wasn't opening them. And as I said, I think Tyrion honestly is the best thing for Daenerys. You can already tell that Tyrion is getting much more confident. He definitely is getting that side of him that we love. The Tyrion that we love is coming back, and I definitely am very happy about that. He also says that marrying his daughter, despite loathing him, is impressive, and that is probably the best thing to do, which, again, I've said, yeah, it is probably the best thing to do. So, Tyrion tells Daenerys that Varys is the one that sent Tyrion to her, and Daenerys is wary of Varys, but Tyrion tells her that Varys is probably the only reason she's alive. Really, he is. So, which is true. I mean, he's kept her safe all this time. So Daenerys says she's not going to kill Tyrion or banish him. She's going to make him an advisor. And Tyrion starts by suggesting that she leave Westeros to itself, suggesting that she can do better elsewhere. But Daenerys is determined to return home. And I think it's really interesting that maybe Tyrion's going to help her get home. Obviously, he's going to basically take Jorah's place. I'm definitely interested in seeing how this is going to go. I definitely think that they're going to team up, definitely. I'm very interested in seeing how that's all going to work out. I think that definitely is very interesting. So, Jorah then returns to his former owner and offers to fight in the Great Pit at Meereen. So that could be really interesting, seeing him fight in the Great Pit. I kind of feel like Jorah might die, though, because we don't know who he's fighting against, obviously. I don't want this to turn out like the, what was that episode last year with, I don't want him to turn out like Oberyn. I don't want that to happen, but we'll see what happens there. So the Septa is again feeding Cersei and telling her to confess, and Cersei is trying again, bribery. She's just bribing him. She's like, she's just bribing her, get me out of here, and then she's threatening her, and I'm just like, seriously, there's nothing you can do at this point. Just suffer the consequences, admit what you did was wrong, and then you can get out, and it's really annoying, but it's typical Cersei, honestly. It's not bad storylines because it's typical Cersei. I fucking hate Cersei. Cersei's not going to show any mercy. I was thinking they maybe make Cersei more vulnerable. No, they're just gonna make her even more bitchier than she already is, and I'm just like, seriously, Cersei, just like, confess what you did was wrong, admit your actions, and then you can get out. That's all they want you to do. All they want you to do is confess what you did, and then they'll let you go. Obviously, you're not going to do that, so they're just going to keep torturing you, and it's stupid. Cersei doesn't want to admit that she did something wrong, because she thinks she's, like, the best thing ever. She thinks, oh, I did nothing wrong, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm Cersei Lannister, I'm more powerful than you are, I have brothers that can take you down. It's just like, you have nothing. Seriously, Cersei, you have nothing. Jaime's out looking for your daughter, and is basically with your daughter right now, trying to protect her. Tyrion, your other brother Tyrion, who you want nothing to do with, who probably could help you out in this situation, honestly, is with Daenerys right now, and everyone else is pretty much turned against you. Who the fuck do you have? Like, who else is gonna come after you? Who is gonna come after the Septa? You have nothing. You don't have an army. You have nothing. Everyone's pretty much against you. So, congratulations. I'm jumping for joy about it, and, yeah, enjoy your life in prison. That's really what I say to Cersei. Enjoy your life in prison because you deserve every minute of it. So, I'm very happy that Cersei's in prison. Really, I am. So, the rest of the episode pretty much focuses on, Jon and, all the wildlings, that whole story, which I think is definitely very interesting. So, at the wall, Gilly is tending to Sam's wounds, and they both admit that they're a little scared, and Ollie comes in the room with food, and we find out why some of the Night's Watch is very against Jon allying with the wildlings. And basically, Gilly leaves Chuck on the baby, and Ollie asks Sam why Jon would try to save the wildlings. And I thought this was really interesting we found this out here. Sam tells Ollie that he's seen the White Walkers that are coming, and Jon is only taking necessary risks. And we find out that Ollie's family was killed by the wildlings, and ever since then, they've been against them, and I do agree with what Sam is saying, that allying with the wildlings, obviously, wildlings between White Walkers, the wildlings could take down the White Walkers. Obviously, I think Jon just needs a bigger army. That's really what it is. Obviously, White Walkers, they're going to be incredibly hard to take down, so I can totally see where he's coming from with that. And again, I'm really loving the expansion they're doing with Sam. I really hope they continue doing it, because I think it's really well done. So Jon rides on a ship with Tormund and other men as they arrive at Hardhome, and as they arrive, Tormund is greeted by Rattleshirt, and Rattleshirt calls Tormund a traitor and accuses him of fighting for the Crows, and Rattleshirt mocks Tormund, but Tormund takes the club from Rattleshirt's hand and uses it to beat him to death. I thought Tormund was going to die, but no, he just kills Rattleshirt right there, and yeah, that was crazy. So obviously, he wasn't doing anything wrong, so was he a traitor? I'm not really sure. That's not important because Rattleshirt's dead. So once inside, Jon makes his pitch to the wildlings, and Jon gives the wildlings his dragon glass as a gift to show them that he's sincere here, and he offers them the gift to settle on if they come with him and fight against the White... Oh, by the way, before I get to the rest of this, we did see Jorah with the grayscale, and Tyrion still doesn't know about that. So I'm definitely worried now that Jorah's back to where he is, that this is going to start to go airborne. I really think that it's going to go airborne, and we'll see what happens. I definitely feel like by next season, a lot more people are going to have the grayscale virus, which I think is really interesting. So Jon basically talks to the wildlings. He offers them a gift to settle on if they come with him and fight against the White Walkers. And Athen then asks about Mance Rayder, and of course, they don't know that Jon killed Mance, and I like that he told them right away that he killed Mance, and the wildlings are ready to kill Jon at this point, because obviously they didn't want Jon to kill Mance, but Tormund speaks for him, calling Jon's arrow a mercy, because of course it was a mercy killing. He didn't kill the way Stannis wanted him to. He killed him because he had to. It was a mercy killing. And with Tormund vouching for Jon, many wildlings agree to join force for the Night's Watch, but the Thens still refuse and call Jon an enemy. I like that some of them are for it, and some of them are against it. That definitely is something I really am enjoying. So basically the rest of the episode is just full-on combat, and it was just awesome. Because the wildlings then, and pretty much it worked out for Jon. The wildlings are allying with him. So the wildlings load up on Jon's ship to leave for the wall, and Jon is still wary of leaving so many behind, because obviously he's leaving a lot behind, but Tormund reminds him that they're running out of food with nothing around to hunt, and he assures Jon that the others will come around eventually. So they'll realize eventually that this is a good thing. So Ed gathers up the dragon glass, but leaves one dagger in the hands of a giant, and this was the first episode where we finally saw a White Walker fight, which, if you guys have seen this show for the White Walkers, this was the episode for you. Seriously, this was so satisfying. I love this fight. It might be one of my favorite fights in Game of Thrones history. It was so epic. The dogs outside start barking. The wildlings look toward the mountains where clouds of suns are rising, and they retreat behind Hardhome's walls, as many as they can. Shut the gates. There's panic outside the gates, and then silence, and then peers through an opening in the gates. He sees a White Walker charge toward them, and the Whites begin tearing through the gates as the wildlings dash for the boats in a panic. I mean, it's just crazy here. The White Walkers climb into the roof of the Meeting, all and leap inside, and the Night's Watch form up and charges toward the gates. The Whites break through the walls and start killing wildlings just one by one. They're brutally killing them, and you'd think they'd save this for the 9th episode, but I think it's just because there's so much going on that we had to have this. So Jon, Tormund, and Athen see the White Walkers on horses overlooking the battle from the mountains, and Jon starts moving toward the hall to find the dragon glass, and a giant bursts forth from the hall, stomping on Whites as he goes, and the White Walkers stride into the burning hall, and then the Then moves to fight him, while Jon finds the glass, and the Walkers, Wien shatters the Then's axe, and then White Walker kills him, and the Walkers move to attack Jon. Now, here's what I thought was going to happen. I know that Jon Snow is supposed to die this season. I've heard many people say it. It's not a spoiler. If you've read the books, you pretty much know this. Now, I haven't read the books, but everywhere I go on the internet it says Jon Snow's gonna die, Jon Snow's gonna die, Jon Snow's gonna die. I didn't say when he died, I didn't say how he died, I just know that he's supposed to die. So I thought that Jon was gonna die in this scene. That's what I thought was gonna happen. But No, he picks up a sword from the ground, and the White Walker shatters it and knocks Jon down. It looks like he's about to slit his throat, but Jon picks up Longclaw made of Valyrian steel, and it withstands the White Walker's attack, and that was just... Jon is such a badass. I love that. Jon then used it to kill the Walker, and the Night's King sees this happen. After a moment's respite, the Night's King sends a legion of Whites tumbling over the mountains to continue the attack. The Whites knock down the walls, and Jon and the rest flee to the boats, and Jon and the rest take to the water in the boats. The Night's King walks down the dock and locks eyes with Jon. There are still White Walkers out there. They're not all gone. And the Night's King raises arms, and the Wildlings dead awake as new Whites appear, and that's how the episode ends. So, definitely there are going to be more White Walker attacks, and that was just awesome. I love the way they end that, because there's still more White Walkers out there. By killing these White Walkers, you're just forming a bigger army. Obviously, Jon has the Wildlings on his side, but now they have other White Walkers to defeat, which I think is going to be very interesting overall. So overall, guys, this episode was really good. There's a lot to talk about, though. First of all, I really want to talk about Tyrion and Daenerys. I think their partnership is very good. I definitely really do like it. Is Tyrion going to help Daenerys? Also, we finally got that line where Daenerys talked about all the different... We finally got that line where Daenerys is like, I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel. And I'm just like, that's so epic. I love the way... I love that she finally said that. You know, she said... that she's finally gonna, she's gonna be the one to stop all this, and I think it's gonna be really interesting to see if Tyrion can do that. Definitely seems like Tyrion's already helping her. Obviously, he told her what she's doing is a good thing, and Tyrion definitely has more motivation. I think this has made Tyrion more motivated, it's made him more confident, it's got him back to the man he really is, and I think that's awesome that he is finally doing that. Cersei. Just fucking confess what you did, seriously. Just confess what you did, and this will be over. It's that simple. It's not that hard. Confess what you did. I understand it's hard for you, but just confess what you did. It's really not that hard to do, and she's making a big deal out of it, which is really stupid, honestly. I mean... I get that she is, doesn't like being in prison, but boo-hoo, seriously, boo-hoo. I don't give a shit that you're in prison. I've wanted it to happen for a while, and I'm very happy that's happening, and, just confess what you did, honestly. Everyone's against her. She has no one on her side, and I don't think she realizes this. If Jaime comes back, he's not going on her side. There's no way. They're going to convince him to turn against Cersei. I definitely feel like Jaime would be loyal to Cersei, but... After all that's happened, I don't even think he's going to get back till, like, next season, probably. And also, her trial, I think Cersei's going to die. I really do. I don't think Cersei can withhold this trial. I don't think she can be proven innocent. She did nothing that has given, she's done all this stuff. There's nothing she can do to say I'm innocent because she's done it, and she just won't confess to it. So, there are people that know what she's done, and they're definitely going to use that against Cersei, which I think is going to be awesome. Lady Olenna, especially, I think is going to use that against Cersei. If Cersei finds out that Lady Olenna, though, killed Joffrey, what's going to happen there? That's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Definitely seems like Lady Olenna and Littlefinger are the main people that want to take down Cersei. And also Marjorie. Obviously, Marjorie wants to come after Cersei. And it's, it's wrecked Tommen and things like that. But I think Tommen, honestly, as long as Marjorie's in his life, that's what he cares about at this point. I really think that's what matters to him. So... Basically, Arya and Jaqen, I think this is really interesting as well. Is Arya going to be able to protect her identity and be this, Lana girl? Is that going to work out for her? Or is Jaqen going to find out her true identity? I don't know how he would, but I definitely feel like that's going to come out somehow. I don't think this is going to be a permanent thing for Arya. I'm pretty sure that at some point, Jaqen he has to eventually find out who Arya really is. You can't just not say who you are. Obviously, Jaqen has to find out at some point. I'm not sure when, though. We'll see what happens there. Theon and Sansa, I honestly really do want to see them take down Ramsay, and I think it'd be really cool if they do. The only person, though, I think they can take down Ramsay at this point is Jon Snow. If Jon Snow can take down those White Walkers and convince all those wildlings to ally with him, I'm pretty sure he can take down Ramsay, and I think that's really what's going to happen. Jon and Ramsay are going to fight, and that's going to be awesome, and he's going to save Sansa. And also, who were the other boys? Obviously, they weren't Bran and Rickon, so who were the other boys? And I think that's really interesting that he said they weren't Bran and Rickon. I think that definitely is a very interesting story. What actually is he talking about? Now, she does know that Robb and Catelyn, of course, were killed, but what is Theon going to tell her? I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen there. As far as Ramsay and Sansa go, are they going to find out that Jon has created this army? How are they going to feel about it? Are they going to try to ally with Jon? Jon, I don't know if he'd ally with Sansa. Obviously, Ramsay, I don't think he's going to ally with. Obviously, he knows what Ramsay did. I don't even think Jon really knows about the Red Wedding, so I think definitely he's going to find out about it soon, but we'll see what happens there. Jorah. Jorah is back to his former owner. Is he going to make the whole grayscale thing go airborne? Also, what's going to happen in the fight? Is Jorah going to die? I could definitely see it happening. We'll have to see what happens there as well. Gilly and Sam. Obviously, Sam wants to take down all, thinks it's a good thing what Jon is doing, but what do you think is going to happen? Are those other people going to eventually ally with Jon? I definitely think that's going to happen. Like Tormund said, I think eventually they will come through and they'll ally with him. But definitely White Walkers, I think they're definitely going to be more White Walker fights. I'm definitely interested in what's going to happen next week. I can't watch live next week, though, because the Tony Awards, of course, are next week. And I will be doing a Tony Award live stream because that's what I'm doing. And I hope you guys are looking forward to that because I'm not watching Game of Thrones because of that. I'm not watching Penny Dreadful next week because of that. I'm not watching any of my shows next week because of that. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to review anything next week until that Monday because I have, the Tony Awards are on. Obviously, I'm watching the Tony Awards over everything. That's just how I roll. If you guys have a problem with that, I'm sorry, but I did the same thing last year, and you guys seem to really enjoy that. So, I will be doing a Tony Award live stream next week. Game of Thrones, you will have to wait till Monday for me to post any of my thoughts. I won't see the episode till Monday. I won't see Penny Dreadful till Monday, and it's gonna suck, but that's how I'm doing it. So, that's basically for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, guys, best episode of the season by far. Seriously, this season is really, really delivering, and I definitely feel like these final we have 2 episodes left. The penultimate 9th episode. It's always the 9th episode that I miss. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but I definitely feel like someone is going to die next week. Jon, I think, is probably going to die, or Cersei. Can we just kill off Cersei, seriously? She's so annoying. We killed off Joffrey, so why can't we kill off Cersei? I mean, if you can kill off Joffrey, you can kill off anybody, really. Just kill Cersei off the show, and I'll be fine with that. At least she's in prison. At least she's in prison, and she basically is just whining about it, which I find hilarious. But that's basically this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will actually be for my review of a mini-series, The Secret Life of Marilyn Monroe. I am watching it. I'm going to review the mini-series to you, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.